Imagine waking up every morning in a place that silently screams at you, a space where every pile of laundry, every dusty shelf, every scattered paper tells a story, not of chaos outside, but of disorder within. Your room is not just four walls, it's a mirror, and when that mirror is cracked, cluttered, and forgotten, so are the parts of you that desperately need structure, purpose, and control. So I ask you not rhetorically, but as a serious challenge, why is cleaning your room such a big deal? Because if you can't bring order to your own space, how can you possibly hope to bring order to your life? The external often mirrors the internal. If your room is messy, chaotic, disorganized, then chances are your thoughts follow the same pattern. We think we're too busy to clean, too distracted to care, but that's precisely when cleaning matters most. In the act of organizing your space, you begin to organize your thoughts. The clarity that comes from throwing away garbage, folding clothes, or wiping down a desk isn't just about appearances. It's neurological, it's spiritual, it brings peace. The world might feel overwhelming, but your room is a world you can master, and in that mastery, you find mental resilience. If you want to tame the storm, start where you are. Your room is the first frontier in the war against internal chaos. People often seek purpose in grand, complex ventures, changing the world, building empires, achieving greatness. But what they ignore is that greatness starts in small, seemingly insignificant decisions. Cleaning your room may feel trivial, but it's actually a profound act of discipline. You're training your brain to finish what you start. You're reinforcing the belief that your choices have power. Every time you fold that shirt or scrub that floor, you're telling yourself, I am capable. I can bring order. I can be relied on, even by myself. And that belief becomes the foundation for every future act of discipline. It's not about cleaning, it's about commitment. It's about the integrity of doing something you don't want to do simply because it's necessary. The idea of personal responsibility is not theoretical, it's practical. You don't need to wait for a job title, a diploma, or an invitation to be responsible. You already have a space in this world. Start there. Take responsibility for your room. Ownership begins with what you already possess. That room, no matter how small, is your kingdom. And if you can't rule your own room, what makes you think you can handle anything greater? Responsibility is not about taking on everything. It's about showing you can handle something. The more responsibility you take for your surroundings, the more you'll find people trusting you, relying on you, turning to you. Not because you demanded authority, but because you proved you could handle it. What happens after you clean your room? Something subtle but monumental. You breathe easier, you think clearer, you feel a sense of quiet pride. That clean space becomes an invitation for focus, for creativity, for possibility. You start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you're capable of more than you thought. The order in your room creates the environment for bigger dreams. You're no longer suffocated by your surroundings. Instead, you're supported by them. That small act of cleaning becomes the seed of momentum. You eat better, you sleep better, you think about your future, you look at your finances, you reconnect with people. Your room is the stage for your transformation, and cleaning it is your first line in the script of becoming who you were meant to be. The state of your room is not just a visual experience, it's a psychological one. Every object that is out of place, every pile that sits untouched for days, every item that gathers dust in silence, sends you a message whether you hear it consciously or not. That message is simple: your life is not under control. It's astonishing how often we underestimate the power of our immediate environment to shape our emotional and mental state. The human brain is an association-making machine. It reads symbols, cues, and patterns all day long, even when we're not actively paying attention. So, when you step into a room that is disordered, it doesn't just look messy. It feels like your life is scattered. It reinforces the belief that you are behind, overwhelmed, or lacking direction. And the longer you stay in that space, the more that message settles into your subconscious. Cleaning your room isn't merely about creating a visually pleasant space, it's about reclaiming control over your immediate reality. And in a world where so much is outside of your grasp, global events, people's opinions, the future, it is incredibly empowering to realize there is still something within your control, your environment. The act of tidying up becomes a subtle assertion of will, a declaration that you will not let the chaos outside dictate your inner world. With each item you organize, you're making a statement: I care. I am responsible. I am in charge here. This shift in mindset is not small, it's transformative. A clean space can provide a sense of clarity that is hard to come by elsewhere. It makes you feel lighter, more present, more grounded in the moment. The mind craves order, especially when life feels unpredictable. Think about how much time people spend trying to find motivation, trying to feel inspired, trying to focus. What if the starting point isn't some grand strategy, but something as humble as cleaning your desk, making your bed, or arranging your books? You may find that when your surroundings are clear, your thinking becomes sharper. You're no longer pulled in 20 directions by 100 visual distractions. You're no longer weighed down by the guilt of procrastination in physical form. Cleaning your room becomes a form of self-respect, a message to yourself that you matter enough to be surrounded by order, not disorder. It is one of the first and most accessible ways to begin transforming your internal narrative from chaos to capability. Discipline is not forged in grand gestures. It is born in the smallest, most ordinary of actions. When you clean your room, you are not just picking up clothes or dusting off shelves. You are practicing the art of self-regulation. You are doing something that might feel boring, tedious, or unnecessary in the moment, but you're doing it anyway because it is good, necessary, and right. This is the very essence of discipline, acting not out of impulse or emotion, but from a decision to build a better version of yourself. The person who can make themselves do what needs to be done even when they don't feel like it becomes unstoppable over time. The problem is, many people wait for motivation to strike before taking action. They want to feel inspired before they clean, energized before they commit, or emotionally ready before they act, but life doesn't work that way. The feeling rarely comes first. Discipline is what gets you moving even when the feelings are absent. And ironically, once you start moving, the feelings often follow. Cleaning your room is a perfect practice ground for this principle. It doesn't require a special occasion, a large budget, or anyone's permission. It's you, your space, and the decision to do something constructive. It's not a performance. It's a private commitment to order and intentionality. Each time you do the dishes when you'd rather scroll your phone, each time you fold your laundry instead of leaving it on the chair, each time you make your bed before rushing out the door, you are reinforcing a crucial habit: following through. You are teaching your brain that you can be trusted to do what needs to be done. This is the foundation for confidence, not the kind of shallow confidence that comes from compliments or success, but the deep, unshakable kind that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. What people don't realize is that discipline compounds. The more you show up for the small tasks, the easier it becomes to tackle the big ones. You build momentum, and momentum, once built, becomes a force of its own. That's how people become productive, focused, driven. They train themselves in the little things. Cleaning your room might seem insignificant, but it is exactly the kind of ritual that teaches your mind how to persist. It's not about tidiness for the sake of appearances. It's about forging a mental toughness that can carry you through the storms of life. It is discipline disguised as a chore. And once you learn how to conquer that small battle every day, you become the kind of person who can conquer much more. Responsibility isn't something you inherit the day you become an adult, and it isn't handed to you with a job title or a degree. It begins long before that, in quiet, personal spaces, often where no one is watching. And your room is one of the earliest and clearest arenas where responsibility can be claimed and practiced. You don't need a grand mission or global platform to start being responsible. You start by taking care of what is already yours. That room, however small or imperfect, is a space you occupy and influence. When you let it decay into disorder, you're silently declaring that you're not ready to own your part of the world. But when you take the initiative to clean it, maintain it, and keep it in order, you are declaring something else. I am capable. I can manage what's mine. I am willing to take charge where I am. Many people talk about changing the world. They want to fix systems, lead movements, and create revolutions. But you cannot lead others if you cannot even lead yourself. The responsibility of leadership starts with the responsibility of order. If you can't be trusted to handle your own space, how can you ask to be trusted with anything beyond that? Cleaning your room is a simple but powerful gesture of accountability. You're not doing it because someone forced you to or because of appearances. You're doing it because it's your job, because it's your domain, and because responsibility is not about recognition, it's about readiness. When you begin to take care of your room, you're developing the habit of ownership. You start noticing details. You start recognizing what needs to be fixed, improved, thrown away, or protected. That same mindset naturally extends beyond your room. You begin to notice the state of your relationships, your time management, your health, and even your finances. Responsibility is contagious. When you become responsible in one area, it begins to bleed into others, and this growth isn't always dramatic, but it's deeply foundational. You don't need permission to become responsible. You just need willingness. You already have a space to steward, a small piece of the world to manage. Whether you treat it with care or neglect reveals a great deal about how you might treat bigger opportunities in life. True responsibility is never flashy. It's not about praise or perfection. It's about stepping up where you are with what you have and doing the work that others ignore. Cleaning your room is not beneath you. It's the beginning of a life built on strength, structure, and self-respect. When you clean your room, you're not just creating physical order. You're opening the door to a better version of your life. At first glance, it might seem like you're just moving objects around, throwing away trash, wiping surfaces. But beneath that surface activity, something far deeper is happening. You are reshaping the environment in which you exist daily, and the environment always speaks to the mind. A clean, organized room sends a different message than a messy, chaotic one. It tells you that you are in a space of care, readiness, and potential. That message matters more than you think because your surroundings are constantly influencing your mind state even when you're not aware of it. A clean room becomes an invitation to think more clearly, to act more intentionally, and to create without distraction. It silently encourages you to read that book, finish that assignment, write that idea down, or simply sit and breathe without being visually bombarded by clutter. The less noise your room throws at you, the more space you have internally. That psychological space is fertile ground for growth. It allows creativity to spark and ideas to form. It invites discipline and focus. And most of all, it allows you to feel at home in your own life, not like you're barely surviving your surroundings. Think about what happens when you walk into a room that's clean, fresh, and ordered. There's a sense of calm. You stand a little taller. You feel, even for a moment, that you're capable of more. That shift is not a coincidence. It's because order inspires belief. It gives you a taste of how life could be if you lived with more intention. And when you experience that, even just for a few minutes, you're more likely to want to replicate it in other areas. Your schedule, your health, your relationships. Suddenly, making your bed becomes connected to managing your time. Cleaning your desk leads to organizing your priorities. The external order ripples inward. The beauty of this principle is that it starts with something so small, so accessible. You don't need to wait for a massive life change to begin turning things around. You can start today with the room you sleep in, clean it, care for it, make it a place that reflects the person you're becoming. not just the person you've been. In doing so, you're not just cleaning a space, you're clearing a path. A path toward a life that's more focused, more grounded, and more filled with possibility. Because a clean room is never just about the room. It's about the life that grows in the space you've prepared. Cleaning your room may seem like a mundane chore, something minor in the grand scheme of life, but it holds the power to become a defining act of self-respect and transformation. It's not about neatness for the sake of aesthetics. It's about reclaiming order where you have the ability to do so. In a world filled with complexity, uncertainty, and chaos, the ability to control and shape your environment is a grounding force. Your room, however small or messy it may be, is a symbolic stage upon which you rehearse responsibility, discipline, and focus. When you take that space seriously, you are telling yourself and the world that you are willing to be accountable for the part of life that's within your reach. That message is profound. It's the beginning of maturity, not just in your living space, but in your worldview. Your environment reflects your inner world. A room left in chaos often parallels a life left in limbo, anxious, stagnant, and unclear. But when you start organizing the outside, something inside begins to shift. The act of cleaning is not simply mechanical, it's spiritual. You pick up more than just clothes and dust. You pick up the weight of neglect, the fog of confusion, and the burden of passivity. Each drawer you arrange, each corner you wipe, becomes a step toward clarity and mental peace. In those small physical actions, you declare that you are not a victim of life's mess, but an active participant in shaping your experience of it. And once you prove that to yourself in the confines of your room, you begin to believe it's possible in every other area of life. Discipline, too, finds its roots in these simple routines. Most people wait for big opportunities to prove themselves, but life doesn't work that way. Life watches how you handle the small stuff. And in the act of cleaning your room, you are proving that you can start something, commit to it, and follow through. That act builds trust in yourself. It gives you confidence not through motivation, but through evidence. Responsibility becomes less of a burden and more of a habit, something you carry with you into relationships, work, decisions, and dreams. The world might be beyond your control, but your room is not. And when you master your space, you take the first steps toward mastering your life. Ultimately, a clean room is not the end goal, it's the starting point. It's where self-respect takes root, where focus is sharpened, and where transformation quietly begins. It's not about perfection. It's about intention. It's about creating an environment that supports who you want to become, rather than reinforcing who you've been trying to escape. You are not cleaning because you're forced to. You're doing it because you value yourself enough to live in a space that reflects order, clarity, and care. And from that small act, a new story begins to unfold. One where you don't wait for the world to change because you've already changed your world, starting with one simple decision to clean your room. Thank you for taking the time to listen, reflect, and grow with this message. If this speech spoke to something inside you, if it sparked a thought, a shift, or even the smallest decision to take action, then its purpose has been fulfilled. Remember, transformation doesn't begin with massive leaps. It starts with the smallest steps, the ones you take quietly in your own space when no one is watching. Cleaning your room may seem like a small task, but it could be the first act of reclaiming your life. I truly appreciate your presence here. If this message added value to your journey, please like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that challenges, uplifts, and empowers you to take responsibility and become the person you were meant to be. Until next time, keep your space clean, your mind clear, and your path purposeful. One act of order today builds the foundation for a better tomorrow. Take care of yourself, take charge of your life, and goodbye for now.